What's up guys, this is Dark Magician here and welcome to another KOF video. So guys, as you know, the global server just never ceases to amaze us. We weren't expecting the new boss, which is Rising Dragon Kensou, and well, they did get him now for this month at this stage. And not only that, but also in the events, they have added Robert 11. So we will have a way in order to get Robert 11 again this month. So yeah, probably by exchanging in a specific event or a package or something like that. But yeah, we're probably gonna get 2 API 15s for this month, guys. So now yeah, without further ado, today's character introduction will be for Rising Dragon Kensou. Okay guys, so as you can see, Kensou is an API 15 DPS, and of course what do you expect from a DPS is a high crit and a high crit power, of course. Okay, now the feature says Psychic Dragon Spirit, fly and transform to a dragon. Well, now he won't really technically transform to a dragon, but he will use a sort of layers. He can convert layers, okay? We're gonna see them in the skills, of course. So first, starting with the fates, we have the Psychic Partner. We need Rising Dragon Kensou, Superstar Athena, Kensou and Athena, increasing attack plus 25%. Chinese Fighter, we need Kensou, Bao and Chin, again increasing attack plus 25%. And multi-hit, we're gonna need Kensou, Robert 2002 and Shingo, increasing again attack plus 25%. And actually his fates aren't really hard. If you have Superstar Athena, then that would be a bonus for you, so that you can unlock the 3 fates, okay? Now his weapon, the Fine Meat Bun, funny weapon, and you know, he uses Gale Badge and Superpower Tome. Now moving to his fight soul, it's called the Green Dragon Soul. Now here they say recover 40 extra rage when attacking and recover 40 rage if the ally or enemy dies. So it's definitely a snake soul and a tiger soul combined in one. Now let's go to the skills. First, the passive Rising Dragon. So here, the psychic power will greatly strengthen the normal attack damage and small skills, and all damage caused will ignore the immunity to debuff, but the small skills become more difficult to be activated, such that the chance will be reduced by 40%. So here the passive will increase his base attack, you know, his normal attack and his small skill attack damage, which is pretty good. But at the same time, he will do damage, let's say for the opponents that are immune to debuff. Somehow they will be affected by this one, but on the other side, he will have a reduced chance to make his skill by 40%. Okay, now also increase the normal attack damage. As we've mentioned, normal attack absorbs the target HP by 8%, which is pretty good. So no matter how low his damage was, he will make at least 8% damage worth of 8% of the opponent's HP, which is pretty good, and has a 30% chance to obtain a layer of Psychic Spirit. Now here, as I've mentioned, we will have to talk about 2 layers that Kensou uses. There will be the Psychic Spirit or the Psychic Spirit layer, okay? The Psychic Spirit and the Dragon Spirit. Now here, the difference between the two is that the Psychic Spirit is all about defense, while the Dragon Spirit is all about damage. Now we're gonna see how he can convert the Psychic Spirit to Dragon Spirit. Okay, now the Psychic Spirit will increase his resistance rate and his anti-crit by 9%, and he can stack up to 4 layers at most. So he will have at most 36% resistance rate and 36% anti-crit. Okay, and he will gain 4 layers of this Psychic Spirit at the beginning of the battle. So he starts with 36% resistance and anti-crit at the beginning of the battle, and he will turn 1 layer of that Psychic Spirit into Dragon Spirit. And as I've mentioned, the Dragon Spirit is all about damage, so the 1 Dragon Spirit will increase 11% damage and 11% ultimate damage, and he can stack up to 3 Dragon Spirits at most. So that after stacking 3 layers, he will have 33% damage and 33% ultimate damage at most. Okay, of course, at the beginning of each round, he will do this conversion from the Psychic Spirit to the Dragon Spirit. Now, when Dragon Spirit is added to 3 layers, so when we reach the maximum number of layers for the Dragon Spirit, Rising Dragon Kensou will devour all the Psychic Spirits and enter the Dragon mode. So he will get rid of the Psychic Spirits and he will enter the Dragon mode, such that in the dragon mode he will recover HP by 20% instantly and increase the damage and ultimate damage by 33%. So it's like he will make full usage of the dragon layers. So because we've mentioned 33% is like the maximum number that we can get. And he will have also extra damage of small skills. They will be increased for 1 round, so for an extra round, during which Psychic Spirit cannot be obtained. So for 1 round this will happen, this effect will happen. He will convert all his Psychic Spirits to Dragon Spirits, gain the full effect, and he won't really gain a Psychic Spirit in this round. Now, when Rising Dragon Kensou acts in Dragon mode, okay, so now we call it the Dragon mode, he will immediately dispel his own debuff, including Petrification, and each damage received will not exceed 70% of max HP, and in Dragon mode it will be 35% HP, so he won't receive more than 70% HP damage. And if he was in Dragon mode, he will receive a maximum of 35% HP damage, so it's like Kung Fu Ru, he won't be really killed that easily, okay? And after being attacked, if the HP is lower than 50%, Dragon Rage, so he will, let's say, do Dragon Rage or this new thing, so instantly gain a layer of Dragon Spirit and recover 20% HP and 200 Rage, and he will be immune to Rage Reduction effect for this round. This will be activated then once at most in each round, so he can activate the Dragon Rage once in each round. If there is one fighter in both sides at the beginning of the battle, Dragon Rage will not recover HP because, well, I think it will be OP to do that. But anyway, so we know now what is the Psychic Spirit, what is the Dragon Spirit, and what is the Dragon mode, and what is the Dragon Rage. I know there's a lot of terms, but just find a relation between all of them. Okay, so that was pretty much his passive, and you can see at level 1 he will increase 60% normal attack damage, which is very high at level 1, so it can go much higher, I suppose. And during the Dragon mode he will increase on 20% small skill damage. We mentioned that in Dragon mode he will increase the skill damage for 1 round, so it starts with 20%. I'm sure it's gonna go much higher as you level the skill up. Okay guys, so that was his insanely detailed passive. Now second we're gonna go to the ultimate, the Shinryu Sayushu, okay, don't mind the name. Attack a single enemy, deal 40% damage to a random enemy in addition to that, and increase attack and defense by 20% and pierce rate by 30%, and deal an extra damage to all targets hit by 80% attack. And there is a 40% chance to add a Dragon Eclipse effect. Again, another new effect. What is the Dragon Eclipse? If you remember Lin's poisoning, it's kind of the same thing. So it's like a poisoning effect. I'm sure you've seen him in the videos where he somehow poisons opponents. So that's the Dragon Eclipse actually. Of course, deals constant damage with no rage restoration to the target and decreases the target's healing effect and the speed of rage restoration by 40% for each round. So that's the Dragon Eclipse. Now, each layer of Psychic Spirit has a 10% chance to absorb the main target's small skill for 2 rounds. So imagine if he does have 4 layers of Psychic Spirit, he can have a 40% chance to absorb the main target's small skill for 2 rounds, which is pretty good. And then 1 layer of Psychic Spirit will be restored. So here, don't think that he will lose all his Psychic Spirits and convert them to Dragon Spirit. No, he will actually keep on gaining Psychic Spirits again. So he will be actually defensively always boosting himself as well, not only in his damage. And after the weapon awakens, the effect will be improved in all-round way, such that each layer of Dragon Spirit will absorb 10% of the main target's small skill resistance and ultimate resistance for 2 rounds. If you remember guys, we said he can stack up to 3 layers of Dragon Spirit, so if you add them together, he can absorb 30% small skill resistance and 30% ultimate resistance from the opponent, which will be pretty good. And a layer of Dragon Spirit will be gained as well. So that's why guys, Kensou's weapon is one of the most important weapons, because without the weapon you will only benefit from the Psychic Spirit, but after you awaken the weapon you will actually benefit more from the Dragon Spirit. So it's definitely recommended to get his weapon if you are going for him. Okay, now finally, of course, you know, the second passive, attack and HP enhancement, 5% attack and HP. I don't know why I always just refer to that, but anyway, the minor skill, the Ryuboku, attack a column, dispel the target's column buff, absorb the main target's HP by 10%. Again, he has good ways of regaining HP and absorbing HP from the opponents, increase crit and crit power by 30%, and increase the damage caused to those who have been affected by Dragon Eclipse or the poisoning mode, let's say, of the target column by 30%. So he will deal 30% more damage to the opponents who are affected by the Dragon Eclipse, recover 150 rage, and if his rage was lower than 300, the recovery will be doubled. So if he has less than 300 rage, he will gain 300 rage. So that's why you will see him recovering rage pretty fast. And recover the same amount of rage for a random fighter whose rage is not full on your own side. So he doesn't only recover rage for himself, but also for any other fighter who doesn't have full rage. Now, if Rising Dragon Kensou is in Dragon mode, 2 layers of Psychic Spirit will be restored. Here again, I did mention he doesn't only just convert the Psychic Spirits to Dragon Spirits, he will keep on adding Psychic Spirits to his own. So that's why it's pretty good. And there is a 50% chance that the small skills will be released in next turn. So he will like increase 50% chance to make a small skill on the next turn. So that's why, guys, you will see him always, most of the time, having full layers of Psychic Spirit and even later on full layers of Dragon Spirit. So yeah, guys, that was it regarding his skills. Now, I know it's very detailed, I know that it does have a lot of terms, so just take your time understanding the terms. I think you can write them down and just understand what each term does, okay? It will be easier, okay? Now, his gate partners, of course, are Bao, Shin, and Athena 2002. As usual, not very hard gate partners, so it should be easy to unlock his gates. Now, the question is, of course, is he a good fighter or not? Now, regarding the skill set, guys, he is a good DPS. He's actually a very good DPS. I wouldn't say he's the best fighter out there, but if you are lacking a DPS, a good DPS in your team, then definitely, guys, you can consider this fighter as your main DPS, because you've seen how much damage he can make. Even his base damage, I'm not talking about his ultimate or like the crit or anything else, even his normal attacks can do a lot of damage. So that's why, guys, I wouldn't really recommend him in any specific team. He doesn't really synergize with any other fighter. So that's why it's up to you to choose whether to go for him or not. But I would say if you are missing a good DPS in your team, then definitely you can consider this fighter. So again, I don't really recommend him in any specific team because he's like a wild card. He can be anywhere. But front or back, I would definitely say just put him in the back row, because even though he does have those layers of Psychic Spirit and, you know, making him gain resistance and stuff, but still he doesn't have that much means of surviving that much. Okay, I would still prefer to see him more in the back row, just to ensure that he gains you know, enough layers of Dragon Spirit. He can do more damage with time and everything. So definitely it would be better to put him in the back row. Okay, now finally, guys, let's go to see which runes are good for him. Of course, I think you can figure it out. Being a DPS and being able to make an ultimate on the second round, I would usually recommend either Dragon Tiger or God's Wrath. Of course, God's Wrath to increase his base crit and so that he can make more damage when he crits, and Dragon Tiger so that he can increase his base attack. So those two definitely are the best ones. I don't really recommend any other rune sets other than those two. And yet finally, guys, regarding his which fifth fight soul can work good on him, of course, not Goddess, not Unyielding, not Lich, not Guardian. I would say War God, just to increase his crit and for him to make more damage to the affected target. This is actually the only fight soul I would recommend because there isn't any specific one that will make like a big difference for him. So War God in first place. In second place, I would say Bloodthorns and Storm, although I do prefer those two on other fighters, again because they can work better on other fighters. There isn't any specific fight soul that you can equip on Kensou, but I think if you do have the War God, if it is not taken by any other fighter, it will be great on Kensou as well. Okay, guys, so that was the video about Kensou's character introduction. Again, we should get used of those long skill sets, guys. Just take your time understanding, and if you do have any questions, just definitely let me know in the comments below. We can definitely talk about it. And let me know, are you going for him? What are your plans? How do you think this month will go with 2 bosses probably coming this month? So yeah, just let me know everything in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.